Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/Android. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android. This is episode 297, recorded on Tuesday, December 20th, 2016. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Flo. Ho, ho, Merry Christmas.
Man. You are out of the gate with bits these days. It's like bits coming from you left, right, and center.
That's all I have to do on the drive here.
Oh, okay. You just think of the bit that you're going to do. Not only that, but we have this strange bit that I don't understand quite yet. All three of us at the table. Ron is not, of course, sitting at the table. He's sitting virtually. But we have with us Brady Forrest, Highway 1 co-founder. How's it going, Brady?
Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure getting you on.
Of
course.
Tradition.
I know.
Apparently.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look back in the schedule, it actually kind of is. It's like It's like every year, right about this time, we bring you on. You bring in some interesting hardware, of course.
Well, and this is my chance to ask Santa, for what I want under the tree.
That's very
Because
true.
if there's
I
something,
want my Google Home to turn on whenever I command it.
your Christmas tree.
Yeah, the Christmas
through
tree.
Google Home. Do you have a
Yeah.
Google Home?
Of course.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
Nice. It was very easy
essential.
to do, Brady. It was very easy. It took me maybe 20 minutes to set it up.
All right.
So
Send me the Amazon wish list components.
We'll do.
Google Home and your voice.
Wi-Fi
Smart
link.
things, right?
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
smart things.
Smart things or some sort of Z-Wave or Zigbee smart outlet. Yeah. So
Yeah, not too challenging. So, I mean, before we kind of get into the show, tell us a little bit about you've got some transition stuff happening with Highway 1 right now. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I am stepping away from day-to-day operations of Highway 1. And if you guys remember, Highway 1 is a hardware accelerator. I co-founded it 3.5 years ago. We've now had 7 batches go through, 74 companies. They've raised over $100 million. And actually, it's kind of awesome because one of the first companies who went through the program was Navdy. And they are shipping this year, and that's what I'm here to talk about today.
Yeah, we'll definitely be diving into this in hardware and a little bit of that into kind of the top block where we're gonna talk about some of our favorite things in the world of Android.
You were our favorite thing.
Yeah, I was the guy who was using the Samsung View, where we took the world's biggest selfie. It's still on
That's
my
right.
Samsung View. Like every so often, because I don't really take any pictures with that.
Yeah. So,
that's
so
still
how
on
often do you use the Samsung View these days?
A
year later.
Less.
Yeah.
Less. We ended up just buying a TV.
Okay.
So you really don't need the Samsung View when you have a TV, as it turns out.
Fair enough. Just having a very large Android device isn't enough to inspire daily use.
So I use Dayframe to make it more of a photo album.
Oh, okay.
And
Photo
then when
wall, really, when it's that
Photo-
big.
Yeah, kind of. And then when we go in the
Installation.
backyard to hang out, then we can
Ah, yes.
that becomes the media control center back there.
Oh, okay. All right, that works. You're still involved with Ignite, right?
Yeah, well, so for Highway 1, I'm going to be helping out for the next, I just helped pick the next batch.
Okay.
And I'll be working with the companies from, at least the next several classes.
Mm-hmm.
But then, no, Ignite is something I acquired about a year ago, back from O'Reilly, and I'm also running that. And so that's going to be one of the things that I focus on in the next year.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, still working with hardware startups and still working on Ignite. Ignite, there were 3 Ignites in the White House this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I went and did one in the spring, and then the administration has since done 2.
Mm-hmm.
Gates Foundation.
Big success right
It's
there.
Wow.
still just up and running, and it's Ignite, the company, is a public benefit corporation. So the whole purpose is trying to be a sustainable business while also just helping people do Ignites and become better speakers.
Nice.
So
excellent. Well, then we will hear, I'm sure, as we go into 2017, more about what you have going on there and then beyond as you kind of step into a different role with Highway 1 and new adventures around
I'll be
horizon.
back, Christmas time next year, hopefully with a whole new story.
And we'll find out that you're still using the ginormous Android device.
Oh, that thing's never going away.
As a wall. Yeah, exactly.
Once it's in the house, it's pretty amazing, actually.
It finds its home and it doesn't go anywhere. So we've got some interesting topics to discuss today. We're going to, like I said, be talking here in a few moments about a few of our favorite Android things for 2016, because if you didn't know, this is the last live show before the end of the year. Next year, we're going to have a best of moments from throughout the year, but this is our last kind of like live at the table show. So, thought we'd touch a little bit on that. Also, Mega Man coming to Android. That makes the nerd in me smile. Of course, Navdy. We're going to dive into that a little bit. Verizon is apparently going to brick your Note 7s after all. Evernote had a privacy policy snafu that we'll talk about, and a whole lot more. I don't know if we need... No, you know what? Even though this isn't necessarily news, I think we need the news bumper, Brian. We need one last Brian bumper. Let's do it.
The holidays are here, but don't fear. We have a tinfoil wrapped segment called Android News.
That's right, and boy, this tinfoil is delicious.
So weird.
Does it change the flavor of
It really
the
is
beer?
weird, Ron. Thank you.
It is.
It's festive.
Yeah, festive is one way to put it. All right, so it's been a year. 2016 will go down in the history books
been a year.
as a year.
A year to remember.
A year to remember. Let's talk about the good things from 2016.
The good things.
Evernote's not going to look at your notes.
That's a good thing.
I like it.
What's happened in the world of Android that really excited us? I feel like there's been a lot of maturity coming from Google in the world of hardware. So I know at least on my list that almost dominates the list. And then I was like, God, I have to look outside of this. It isn't just about Google. What are some of the things that excited you this year, Brady? What do you think?
Well, I was excited by a bunch of announcements that came out in the last month, which is I see between Android Things and between being able to create actions for Google Home's Assistant, that Google is finally like crafting an IoT strategy for developers, like so that people will be able to make these integrations. We'll be able to go on the Android Things store and buy your own Christmas app for turning your lights on and off, and hopefully a lot of other things. Something that might let Navdy say do an integration in the future. Before this, there was no way to bring Google IoT into the home. Like there's now a product for that, and you had a bunch of different developer platforms like Brillo and Weave that were just jargony things.
They were just things, yeah, exactly. But it was hard to know. It was hard to place exactly where they actually were being used or fit into.
And that's why
anything.
they're now called Android Things.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were just
Makes
things.
just a little bit. Yes, right.
It's kind of adorable branding, but I'm hoping that they put some real muscle behind
But
it.
it makes sense for not just for developers, but I feel like it's an easier sell for consumers to be like, oh, it's a thing. You plug into your Google Home and it does this thing, and then the other person goes, that makes total sense. It's a lot easier to describe it to your friends.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, Flo, I think you're touching on something there as well too, because up to this point, we've seen over the past couple of years the explosion and growth of IoT, and we're seeing smart connected products all over, both in the home and the car, and and all these other things. But from a consumer standpoint, it's very confusing. And having the cloud of somebody like Google come in gives it the kind of the level or the base to build off of. The people like, oh, Google's doing it. I have an association with that, so it must be cool. It must work. And hopefully it educates more consumers, and we see more great products working together. What I like about Google is doing it in a position that it's not completely proprietary. The Google Home will work with other stuff through Assistant, and that's the dream. Is like let everybody innovate and make our lives better that way.
It is the dream. You know what else fulfilled my dreams this year?
What?
Daydream.
Really?
Yeah.
So see, I'm
I know.
I'm kind of I feel a little shameful to say that Daydream didn't make my list, but why?
Why didn't it make your list? Let me ask first.
I think because in some ways I was really spoiled with VR this year.
Brother. Okay.
And though I'm really happy that Android has its own Daydream kind of approach, and I really think that the controller is a nice step.
Yes.
What I really lust for, what I really want is like
an Oculus Touch.
Is the cream of the crop VR. Like after using it, it's really hard for me to go back. It's hard for me to get excited about things like Cardboard VR prior to Daydream. And Daydream is a nice step forward, but it's like my mind is tainted now. That's the level by which I compare everything, and that's unfortunate for me. And that's unfortunate for Daydream because I hold it to a different standard.
But that's you, and you're a professional who covers this stuff, and
Absolutely.
you and I are entrenched in it all the time, and we go to the VR shows and all that. But at the same time, I'm so excited to put the Daydream view on my family's heads and seeing how
ride this roller coaster.
No, I've been curating apps to like put into a folder for them to try out. I'm seriously kind of excited to see how they react to all of this. And also, I've been really enjoying my time with it. Just like playing games and sort of just another thing. I actually get really excited about ending the workday and kind of like sitting in my swivel chair.
and then going to a beach.
Yes, actually. And I know it sounds slightly silly, but also this is the most accessible way for me to get to VR right now, because my house is very compartmentalized. I don't really have a lot of room for these like standalone VR headsets. And so the fact that I could just put my phone into a nice, comfortable headset is awesome. And it's better than cardboard because it's not a piece of cardboard that you hold up to your face.
Daydream is not really in competition with Oculus, but Sony VR station is with Daydream. I think that's going to end up being the biggest on-ramp for consumers.
For sure.
Well, talking about VR on-ramps, I don't know if you guys saw, I posted on Twitter, I was actually in San Francisco this weekend. Sorry, I didn't get to see you. It was a brief trip. But on my way out, I had a layover. I'm sorry. I had a layover in Denver, and I had about an hour to kill, and so they had to refuel the plane. So I got off the plane, maybe walked 20 steps into the Denver airport, and there's a Facebook VR pop-up shop.
What? In Denver?
In Denver,
did you buy spectacles there?
No, they weren't selling anything. They basically, all it was that they had a bunch of demo stations with Samsung Gear VRs to show you what VR is like, and there's an assistant there to help you put it on and explain how the Gear VR works, the side, kind of the trackpad thing and everything, and then they put headphones on you, and then there's like a 3-minute video where you're in space, and then you're in Africa, and there's an elephant, and then you're at the freaky Cirque du Soleil rehearsal, and all that sort of stuff. And it was neat if you didn't know what VR was, but for me, I was like, oh, that's it. Like I wanted to see something more. And then they had a short survey where it's like, were you aware Facebook works on VR? What do you think, is Facebook innovative? And like all these things about Facebook, and then that was it.
Tell us Facebook's innovative. Please just tell us Facebook's innovative, please.
Well, that's kind of really interesting that they're putting these kiosks in the airports that have all, the most connections, because I know Denver's a huge airport for going to the Midwest. And
makes sense.
And you have a long layover there. You might as well go try out some new technologies. Holy crap! Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, you're probably pretty bored because you're stuck at the
no,
the
it's
airport.
boring.
You might as well like escape the
you don't want to read your book.
The airport.
Your book is for the airplane.
If they have one in Denver, then they definitely have it in Chicago because that airport is always stacked up.
A hub in Dallas but Flo, I'd be afraid about using it in the terminal because then you're so immersed you might miss the boarding announcement
or somebody steals your luggage.
Oh, right, that. Yeah. Has your luggage ever been out of your sight? Well, yes, for about a half an hour when I had these goggles on my face.
I was in space, okay? I'm sorry.
I was on Mars.
I will say, like comparing Daydream and Gear VR, just real quick here. One of the reasons that I'm not as excited about Daydream is when I really compare them against each other. The Gear VR, the view that you get in the Gear VR feels a lot wider and a lot more immersive than it does.
But you have to have a Samsung phone, which is actually fine because it's like the #1 selling Android device in the US. So it's actually not an issue.
But again, I guess that just boils down to the fact that I've tried all of these things and I'm spoiled by that fact. Anyways, Ron, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say Flo is excited to share, the Daydream with her family over the holidays. We've already touched on a little bit with IoT, and Google Home, but I bought a Google Home to give. I hope he's not watching, but to give to my dad.
That's a great gift.
Other family members are getting not Google Home, but getting Amazon Echo because it makes sense for them because they are, built into the Amazon ecosystem. Basically, the idea of giving the hardware device into the home to start bridging that gap, and that's what I'm going to spend the majority of my holidays with, because I know we've talked about it every week since it's come out, but every day the Google Home adds a little more value into my life, and I think it's just a great device that's delivering on what was promised back in May at Google I/O. So that's been, it's only been less than 2 months, but it's definitely been like, I'm so excited to do more with it. I'm getting into IFTT, and I want to start kind of, as Brady mentioned, kind of play more with the assistant and automate more things and have more interactions happening. I called my first Uber with it the other day. That was awesome. So yeah, it's neat.
To that point, I think that was another big thing this year, was just Google Assistant becoming so ubiquitous and everywhere.
Sentient.
I'm not sure if I would say I would call Assistant ubiquitous.
You're right. It's not ubiquitous. Yeah. That was
because I feel like
hyperbole.
that's kind of its limit right now.
You're right.
It's come a lot. It's
very
turned on.
No, you're right.
But yeah,
but it exists.
But the idea behind it and the potential is being realized.
And it's built into everyday things like a chat client, like Allo. And I know we're still getting people on the Allo train, but I'm trying,
it's not working
for the
me.
Allo. I don't know.
Did you spend much time with Allo since it's launched?
No. And I really want Google Home to have voice recognition so that it knows who's asking. That I can ask. So that I can order an Uber and it goes to my account, or I can ask what my next appointment is, and my girlfriend can do the same.
I feel like
that's
I don't have to
really
see essential.
My husband's cookie recipes on my app. Like I don't care about your cookie recipes.
Yeah, and it's funny because I hacked it. I hacked it because I changed the nickname to instead of what says "Good morning, Ron," I added my girlfriend's name, so it says "Good morning, Carrie and Ron." So it seems like it's talking to both of us,
you have
but
to
it is
appreciate
still
how inclusive that is. By the way,
that is
just
adorable.
FYI, that is very nice thing for Ron to do.
Do you know how to change its call sign so I don't have to say "Okay, Google"?
You can say, "Hey, Google."
Yeah, you can say, "Hey, Google."
Something without Google?
No, unfortunately not.
That's like
sentient air freshener on my sill.
But the thing is that Brady, I agree with you 100%. Multi-user access, just in terms of being able to, I love the rundown of the calendar, and I feel bad that it's only my calendar, and it's if it's really going to be a device for the home, and you have one of these devices in everyone's bedroom, it should know who everyone is and act appropriately.
Yeah, I would be willing to go through voice training. We all, everybody goes through it, set up different accounts. I think people would invest in that.
I feel like that's an essential upgrade, and I'm pretty sure that Google realizes how important that is, because they lose out. Like in the case of our house, like I basically shut off the component that ties it to my account, and because there's 4 of us, and granted two are children, but they're still interacting with it too, and I don't want any sort of messing around with my account because they didn't know what they were doing.
Add appointment for play date with daddy.
I get the message, kid. All right, fine. I'll take you to the bowling alley.
I was just talking about Google Home and Amazon Echo this past weekend, and we're talking about the next generation of kids interacting with these devices. A friend of mine went to a hotel, and his kid, the first thing, they went on vacation recently in Florida, and the first thing his kid said in the lobby was that, why don't they have Alexa here in the lobby? Like
they're
they're
deploying them out in the Wind hotels.
Yeah.
They'll be rolling out Alexas, it's going to be mostly IoT. But I think part of
for turning lights on and off and things like that.
Thermostat, lights on and off, curtains open.
Thermostat is going to be a huge help, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah,
but I'm excited about that.
I've totally had that problem in hotel rooms where I can't find the thermostat.
And then you're too
freezing.
cold or too hot.
Yeah.
It's the worst. Anyway, sorry.
But I think they're going to have problems with the namespace, because right now with Alexa, you have to say Alexa, then you invoke the app name. When I'm in the hotel, if I don't know what the app name is and I don't know what is capable, they're going to need to figure out how to do that for like a class of apps.
To streamline.
You're going to get a placard on the desk when you go in. The information on how to. Cool. Yeah, like you want to change the temperature, just say this, and it's gonna. That's how they're gonna do the training.
Like an Airbnb. Here's your
menu.
Here's your manual for your house manual.
Yeah. Yeah, then you get into the world of syntax, and that's no fun for anyone, especially someone who's never dealt with devices like that before. Suddenly comes into a hotel, and I mean, you're talking about Vegas hotel with how many people roll
From
through
around
those
the
places
world.
every single day.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how successful that is. I like the idea, but man, there's a lot that could go wrong, I think, in the process.
Yeah.
By the way, my husband has mandated for us to get a laminated cutout to teach people how to use the IoT devices in our house when they come to stay with us. He's like, we need to get something to give our friends so they have like the Wi-Fi password. They know how to ask Google to do stuff downstairs. Like they
You're
know how to
running a B&B?
I think
Well,
that
we
sounds
have
like
friends-
a T-shirt.
We have a lot of friends who come and stay with us like throughout the year, which keep visiting me because I love you all.
It's very nice of you. When friends want to come stay with me, I point them to the nearby hotels.
Have a guest room. It's just sitting, wanting to be used. But anyway.
Having a guest room helps, definitely.
Oh.
I have to put the phone that I've been crushing on for the past couple of months, the Pixel XL.
I'm already married to it. So much.
Are you?
Forget crushing it. I've already married it. That's actually what I married on October 15th.
I had
not
no
my
idea.
husband.
Yet we were not invited.
Oh,
Anyways.
jeez.
I know.
What
Can't wait
phone
for
are you using
2016.
right now?
Got a Pixel and just turned in my X5.
Your X5.
Nexus X5.
Oh, 5X.
5X, sorry.
Oh,
I
you
was like,
turned
wait a
it
minute.
in?
What is this, a Sony?
Well, turned it into my desk. It's sitting there.
Oh, okay. I was like, where'd you trade
But
it?
otherwise, before that, it was all the Samsung View.
Yeah.
Just carry that around in my
just-
backpack
yep,
everywhere.
Backpack. Yes, I believe you entirely. Other phones that I liked this year, I think as far as like the affordable kind of range of phones, the OnePlus 3 really has
And the 3T
continued
now.
to impress me. Yes, and the 3T is
And
kind of the
that's
extension
what's
of that.
interesting is that this year that has become the other phone in addition to, so it's been like the way I see this year, it's been Pixel, Samsung, OnePlus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are kind of the choices
that's how
right
I
now
feel.
that people are going back and forth between.
My other call out in here is the Note 7. Yeah, I know.
Because that
the Note
was a big
7
story.
has insane issues, and that's a continuing drama. Having said that, there is no denying that is an awesome phone.
It was
It's just too bad it
so
exploded.
beautiful, guys. It was such a beautiful phone.
Yeah.
It was too pretty to be good. It was too awesome. It blew up. That's how awesome it was.
Oh my God, you're right. It could not. It was not of this world.
Samsung flew too close to the sun with that one. But
Yep.
yeah, phone wise, I don't get to play as many phones as you guys do because I'm not as cool. But and I know every episode I sing its praises. But the year of the next bit Robin for me has been great, especially now that you can get it for what 150
Yeah, it was
bucks on
150
Amazon.
bucks today on Amazon.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer. And and mainly because the phone works. It's might not specs wise, it might not be as good as the Pixel or the Galaxy 7, but for that price range of $150 to $300, it packs a lot in with that. And literally not a week goes by where I don't get at least 3 to 5 interactions with strangers asking me what it is. Like literally people on the subway, at bars, whatever, just say, what kind of phone is that? Like it happens all the time.
Cool
and that's
one.
a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. But practically though, I want to give a shout out to the HTC 10, which we talked a lot.
Yes.
We talked about, it's somewhat maligned, but I set my sister up on that in May, and she actually, apropos of nothing, contacted me, thanking me for it recently, saying her pictures are better, the phone's running faster, like it's a great phone, she loves it. And so like HTC 10 deserves a little love, I think.
I completely agree with you. And actually, even though I wasn't like super impressed by the HTC Bolt, the only reason was because the processor was old and it was only on Sprint. But everything else about it
The
was
Bolt, yeah.
The Bolt was a nice because that was kind of a sibling to the 10, and it was a nice reminder of the 10 was a good. I mean, we'll see what happens to HTC next year.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what the evolution is for HTC. Did we miss anything? I have as a runner-up Google Wi-Fi. I only recently got Google Wi-Fi, which
Do
is
you
their
like it?
mesh router system, and so far I'm really
I have
digging
it too.
I literally, I've only had it plugged in for like less than a week, so I'm definitely in that honeymoon phase. But prior to that, I was using the Almond 3 Wi-Fi mesh system,
Don't even know what that is.
which has some like IoT Zigbee kind of functionality in it, which was really cool. But the Wi-Fi mesh aspect of it, the mesh part of it, didn't work nearly as well as I'm getting out of Google Wi-Fi. And I love the interface, the app that you use to manage and control Google Wi-Fi is really great. So far I'm really liking it.
I haven't had one
Jake-
drop. since I've installed it, or since it's been installed, by the way.
Yeah, my dad of all people contacted me, and I guess he installed it for one of his clients, and like my dad is very hard to impress, and he's like, "That's a really good product." Like
it's really good.
From the aesthetic of it to the setup to the interface, he said it was just like it's going to be his go-to solution for in-home installations now. So
I mean, it's super simple to get set up, and I'm really happy we're finally at that
plug it
point.
in.
Yeah, it's great.
And we're talking about Google, but I was going to say the Eero or whatever.
I mean, this was a big year for mesh in general, for in-home mesh networking, right?
And right as Apple exited.
Yeah.
Which was
that's true.
Totally.
But they're working on cars now. So
Maybe we'll totally see very soon.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything? Anyone not get a part of your list in there? Or this is the only good stuff from 2016?
There's so
I was looking the 2016 year in review posts haven't really gone out yet, Flo. I don't know why I haven't posted yours yet, but
we're still working
research.
On it. Thank you.
Yeah. but really, I mean, I think this year was a rebound. 2015 was a bad year for phones, and I think 2016 was a rebound year where we had a lot of really good phones in the marketplace that really filled that void. And aside from Assistant and some of the other interesting things coming out of Google I/O, there wasn't really anything on the software side or on the app side that blew my mind this year. Like everything's just running tighter and better now. But there wasn't any real kind of shift change kind of release, beyond just the great phones and the great hardware that we got this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think one thing I'll really be paying attention to next year is how this Google brand evolves amongst consumers. How is not just Pixel, but just the whole idea of Google is now a lifestyle. It was always a lifestyle for us. That's because we're Android people. But for everybody else.
Will like the various Nest products roll in under that?
God, I just realized I have so much Google in my house, by the way. Yeah. You're just like Nest and Google everywhere, and like I have phones in every room. I have a shower phone. Like it's just
That's okay. That's taking it one step further than I have.
Life's pretty good in Flowland.
I'm just saying. Sorry.
All right, good year. We won't talk about the bad stuff.
Sorry. Please don't come to my house.
Or do if you want to see what it's like. Almost you're almost on the same playing field as Zuckerberg and his Jarvis. It sounds like your home is
except
almost.
I don't live in a multi-million-dollar house in San Francisco.
There is that small consideration. But whatever, we'll let that slide. We got an email from Jesse who writes in, says, "Hello, AAA crew. This is Jesse in St. Peters. I have a question about Google Now drop-down notifications. I travel for a living, and every new airport I stop through, I get a terminal map and Wi-Fi instructions notification in my drop-down menu. I could care less about having either of these, and it just clogs my notifications. I have tried to open Google Now and swiped away these cards, hoping that it would get the hint, but no such luck. I have an Nexus 6P, if that helps. Keep up the good work," which I don't think that helps at all. Unfortunately, I don't think that's part of this in any way. I think it just sometimes Google Now, if you're sharing your location, will offer up these cards. The only thing I can think is that when you get these cards, there's usually a little menu button on it.
It says ignore.
And if you open that on certain cards, you can choose to ignore notifications like these, never see these again, see more of these, or whatever the case may be. I don't know if it applies that to this particular group of notifications.
And also, I've had nothing but miserable luck with Google Now in general of continuing to show me things that I tell it I do not. I explicitly say, don't notify me for this anymore. And then 2 weeks later, it's back.
Don't you dare notify me.
Yeah. So Google Now, the whole management of what it's actually telling you is really, really wonky. And I'm surprised it still is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into customize, let's see here. I've got on my phone kind of the Google Now customize. Oh, here, let me bring this down a little bit, the brightness. If you go into customize, it gives you some of those categories. And I was looking through this earlier to see if there was something in here based on kind of like airport, kind of terminal maps and that sort of stuff. There really isn't. But it is interesting when you go into everything else and you see all of the many things over the years that you've
searched in Google Now for one reason or another, I still have a thing in here about, well, I have something from Kim Kardashian. That happened once. Justin Bieber. Are you interested in Justin Bieber albums? No. But there's no way to, like, if I actually really just wanted to remove this entirely and be like, I don't even want this to show that Justin Bieber is in there. You can't do it. It's there permanently. All I can do is live with the fact that I searched for it once and now it's there for the rest of my life. Anyways, I don't know if that helps. Let me see if
there
if I go out here.
There was a suggestion in the chat room about turning off Wi-Fi. The only thing is that just delays the notifications so that you're not getting them constantly. And
that restricts your use for other things.
It does, but I actually do that because it keeps me, when I'm out, it keeps me from worrying about my phone.
Oh, okay.
So that way.
Here's, like, for example, what I was saying, the little menu button attached to the card. If you tap that, you get this whole expanded kind of menu that allows you to say, I'm done with this game. Or, like, this is a sports card, but I'm not at all interested in the Philadelphia Eagles. Hide spoil, you know.
Are you interested in the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I follow the Philadelphia Eagles.
I
I used to more a few years back than I do now, but
Randall Cunningham
still keep
generated a lot of fans.
Yeah, it's a long story.
Okay.
Jeez.
This is a friend of mine that got me into football, and he was a big fan. So then
I can understand that.
Anyways, so there you go. Maybe that menu would help. I'm not sure, but that's a guess. So I don't know if that'll help.
So Philadelphia Eagles, huh?
Yeah. You know, they were fun to watch.
I didn't know you were
into
football.
I
TIL.
like football. I don't watch it as much now that we've had kids, unfortunately.
Oh, there it is. I knew it was going to be that.
I'm telling you, kids change things. If you didn't know already, no.
Flo.
Don't look at me.
I'm just saying.
Very excited for 2017.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Boy, oh boy. All right. Hey, let's thank the sponsor of this episode, Quick. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. If you've ever gone through the process to get yourself a mortgage, it's not the easiest thing in the world. You usually have to find that information in a million different places. Finding that information, the right information so that you can get that mortgage, I mean, it's a challenge. I hate having to go through all of my old paperwork to find this stuff. It's not what I consider fun. Well, Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century and helps you out. It's fast, powerful, and completely online. Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. So if you, like me, hate searching through stacks of old files, old paperwork, filing cabinets, all that stuff, well, with Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and your pay stubs at the touch of a button. That's going to help you get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that's been tailored to your unique financial situation. And even better, with Rocket Mortgage, you can do all of this with that little computer you already have in your pocket, that phone, or maybe Ron's back pocket because he carries his tablets in his back pocket. That's going to allow you to do this all with their app. It's a quick online process that you can manage from the convenience of your couch. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today. Just go to quickenloans.com/Android. That's quickenloans.com/Android. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org, number 3030. And we thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for their support. It is time to do some hardware coverage. Let's do it. So, Brady, you brought along some kit here called the Navdy. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, this is a Navdy. Can we zoom in on
There
all right,
we go.
this is a Navdy.
So it's a visor that you wear on your head.
Yeah,
and
this is kind of a replacement for Daydream. So Navdy is a company that went through the very first class of Highway 1, and they ran a crowdfunding campaign, and then they have released it this year, and they're selling tens of thousands of units. And what it does is you kind of mount it on your dashboard this way. There's a little projector here that then hits this mirror, and then it looks like the apps are floating on the screen. And you can use this both with your Android phone, here's the app, but then the Navdy device itself is running on a variant of Android.
Oh, okay.
And so
Nice.
Say
it's
here,
open source.
I want to go to yeah. So like here, if I want to go to Crepe Cone,
Yummy.
I could flick. If this was attached, I would be able to just say, okay, that's my location, and then it loads on to the Navdy, and then I can use this dial,
Which goes on your steering wheel, it
on my
looks like.
steering wheel, to move around through it, and other gestures. So we have a video that kind of shows how it's being used. If we want to cue that up.
Yeah, if you roll, there's a little Dropbox link there in the dock to roll the video. But yeah, so it projects it onto the screen, and then as you're kind of watching, calls come through, and you can kind of like wave your hand to accept the call, or just like that.
Yeah.
In fact.
And so you can see it's floating in front.
Oh.
Well, okay.
It just decided to go away.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
So
There we
So
go.
you can choose the route. Then you can choose what type of notifications you want. They call them glances. So you always keep the route up. And then, you can change stations on Pandora, Spotify. You can get messenger notifications, and then you can speak to it to reply. And so it plugs into your ODP2 port.
Okay.
So it knows what's happening. It knows how fast you're going, and it knows if you're running out of gas. So sometimes when I'm driving along, it'll say, hey, you're almost out of gas. Do you want to add this gas station to your route?
Neat.
And then I just say yes. Or
That's cool.
I click it, and then it just added it.
I like that it keeps all this stuff in your view. Kind of almost, you can see it's kind of projecting into the actual kind of glass that you normally, that you're looking through while you're driving. But obviously it's transparent, so you're not really blocking anything, and it keeps you from kind of looking away. Sometimes when you look at the screen, even if it's just like navigation stuff, I feel like I shouldn't be looking to read that this turn is coming 0.3 miles down the way, because I feel like in just my looking over here, it's actually taking my attention away from the driving.
Yeah, you definitely have to make sure that you're not focusing too much on it. You still need to make sure, but at least
It's not like a video game
ahead.
where you're navigating and only
It's
looking
better
at it the entire way.
than having a giant, because I'm not a fan of the big displays in the cars. I'm sorry. I know it's a big thing in the Tesla, but I'm not a fan of that. I like me regular, tangible buttons and dials. That's what I like. Voice activation.
And not touching your phone, right?
And no,
Okay.
not touching my phone at all.
Okay.
And then here, if we can zoom back in onto this. So I don't know if you guys can zoom in on the phone here, but I have a bunch of different app glances that I can sign up to get messages and alerts, and I can choose if I want to have it read out loud or just show the content. And then I also have destination favorites. And they're definitely looking for developers. So if you have an app and you want it and it works in the car, just head to navdy.com. And these are for sale right now.
Cool. So what?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I was always surprised that the heads-up display technology hasn't made it into cars yet. And so this way, you don't need to have it baked into the car. Just attach it to whatever car you have. That's great. So
yeah, and a big part of what they worked on was this. It's called a combiner. That's what that optical piece is. And so the CTO, the original CTO, he had worked on Pico projectors and had multiple patents, and that's how they got connected. Because Doug, the CEO, who's in the video actually, he knew he wanted to do this, and he found Carl through his blog on optics.
Where do people pick up one of these? Is it just, is it through the site?
Navdy.com, but I'm honestly, I haven't checked. I assume through Amazon as well. But they are now available.
Nice. And being that it's plugging into your OBD port, that has the potential for passing all sorts of other diagnostics through and all that sort of stuff. So when you're talking about developers kind of developing for the platform, that probably opens up a whole host of opportunities.
Which Android Auto does not do currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Well, it's it is.
What I think is really interesting and smart on Navdy's part, Brady, which I didn't even see that they had. I'm looking on the website. They're offering for some locations free delivery and setup.
Yeah.
So so not everybody is as, kind of technically, as we are. That's really smart to kind of go to people. But then also looks like that, it's fairly pricey. It's $799 price tag, but looks like they've got a $33 a month price, financing deal similar to the Google Pixel financing deal we saw. That's smart as well too, to make it more affordable.
Right.
Yeah, and if you zoom in again here, you can pick out, based on the car, there's a video telling you where the port is.
Oh, cool.
So that the installation is actually relatively simple.
I mean, the OBD port is usually pretty darn easy to find, but a lot of people don't even know that it's there.
I don't know.
Or that it
I don't
exists.
even know where it is
Yeah,
in
it
my
exists.
car. I've had my car for 8 years. I don't know where it is.
And that's where
knowing
it gets
that it's
power
in there.
from, is through that port.
Cool. Very neat. I love it.
And I mean, so for me, this was the first class of Highway 1, and it was nice to have it come out.
Yeah.
As I'm leaving, and I was in the beta this summer, and I was like, holy shoot, this is this is really cool. Like, I did not know 3 years ago when I first met them, their prototype was the size of a kitchen table. Like, they were using a real regular projector, and when they left, it was definitely a bigger unit than when you see here, but then they had like a huge battery attached to it.
Right.
Oh my.
And there was only one, and it could only show static images. So to see what they've done is awesome.
But this is powered by the car. Now, what's it like when it's really sunny outside?
You just see it floating. Like, that is part of its magic.
Is that it's bright enough to overcome kind of bright sunshine.
I didn't have no problems. No problems.
Excellent.
Cool.
That is the Navdy, navdy.com to check that out.
Navdy.com.
Navdy.
And it was given out on Ellen.
I saw the Ellen branding on that.
Oh, yeah. There's some video of that, too. So if you want to see some excited people.
Nice.
God bless Ellen. Taking over where Oprah left off.
Yeah,
Yep. My favorite things, Navdy.
Excellent. Cool. Thanks for bringing that in.
Yeah, sure.
That's really cool stuff. Ron, what you got?
Well, one of Jason's favorite things is the Galaxy Note 7, as we talked about earlier. And we talked about last week how Samsung was going to be bricking them and Verizon. There were some issues there. But now Verizon Wireless has decided to go ahead with the software update from Samsung for the Note 7 that will disable the device. The update will push the Verizon users on January 5th, 2017, so after the holidays. Basically it's they're, agreeing that there's enough lingering Note 7s in the world to make this, a necessary thing. In fact, it beats the number of the number of Galaxy 7 Notes that are still in the wild beats the number of LG V20s. There are nearly twice as many Note 7s still being used than LG V20s, which is crazy.
That's either a lot of Note 7s or not many.
Or a little bit of both. Yes, a little from column A, a little from column B. But to close the loop on last week's story, All About Android community member Corey, who emailed last week about his predicament, wrote back in with a picture to let us know that his new Pixel arrived just in time. So his issue has been resolved, and there he is listening to some great music on it.
Yeah.
So
you get that yellow gold. Yeah, but he got the Pixel. So apparently, his worries about Verizon coming along and deactivating his phone and him being SOL, not a worry anymore because he got to replace it. But I'm sure that affects other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. If you still have a Galaxy Note 7 or know someone who does and they're on Verizon, come January 5th, that device is dead. So plan for that.
FYI, y'all saw the tweets today from my colleague Serenity.
Go on.
She was on a flight that was delayed by a Note 7.
Wow.
Not only did it
Note 7
delay,
get
not
on?
only did it delay her flight. Well, from what I understand from the Twitter thread, is that the person with the Note 7 had made it into a hotspot, and it said Galaxy Note 7 hotspot, and somebody caught it on the Wi-Fi in the plane. Yeah. Did you read this thread?
Oh my God.
No. Yeah, and I
so
guess
sneaky but not smart.
Yeah, essentially. And they didn't even rename the profile. They just left it Note 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's subtle.
I was actually surprised because I was on the red eye last night. That's why I look exhausted. But I was on the red eye last night, and I was on Virgin, and they did the whole Note 7 bit, and I was like, oh, they're still doing that. That's still an issue with the FAA, I guess. I guess they have to, but like really spent a good 3 minutes calling out the Note 7 to the entire plane.
Okay, hold on. We have an update on this story that I didn't check because I didn't check.
Yeah,
this was after.
The plot thickens.
Serenity tweeted, I talked to the attendant and the flight wasn't diverted, just late. And spoiler, culprit wasn't a Note 7, but a phony SSID.
So it was not a.
Who
So yeah, don't do
does
that.
Political.
That's almost even.
What?
That's
During
almost-
Christmas?
People use SSIDs for political action. I mean,
Yeah,
I
know, it's true, it's
understand.
true.
what's your password as an SSID? You know,
This is an airplane and
Worked.
That's very funny. That's
terrible.
very
So
funny.
that-
anyway, TLDR.
yeah, but it's not pump up the volume. They're not going to triangulate who did it.
That's true. That's true.
That is so interesting.
Jeez, that's crazy. So, but that's how serious the Note 7 thing is. So please, I don't understand why we keep having to say this. I know it's terrible not having your phone, but go to the carrier and tell them you have to get a new phone.
There are Note 7 owners that are going through elaborate measures to make sure that software updates do not hit them so they can continue to keep them and resist.
And that is not cool. That's not cool. I mean, I understand.
The thing is, it was a voluntary recall.
I know.
It wasn't a mandatory recall, so they don't have to send
But
it
the
back, which is really
FAA
strange because if you listen to what Samsung is saying, it really sounds like it was a mandatory recall, but it was a voluntary.
Well, when the FAA tells you can't fly with a thing, like
Oh, yeah, for
that
sure.
would tell
No
me this is mandatory because I'm not getting off the ground with this in my hand.
yeah.
Nor is
doubt.
anybody else apparently.
So note, going forward, little fun factoid, don't name your SSID anything to do with Note 7 and fly unless you want delays. Or maybe that's your goal. I don't know. If so, I guess you won. But don't do that. Seriously. Flo, you got the next one.
I do have the next one, which is, next year we've got a bunch of new phones coming out. So sort of what are our expectations for the number one phone that I think everybody's thinking about at this point, the Galaxy S8.
One of them.
It's the follow-up to the Note 7, which is sort of
much maligned.
Well, it has just one job.
Not explode.
Don't explode.
I mean,
You had one job.
you had one job.
It's true.
Yeah, we should get a bumper for that.
That's really the only essential thing that the next Samsung phone needs to check off the list. Not exploding.
blow up.
Yep.
Yeah.
well,
Everything else is not mandatory.
No, absolutely understandable. But I was thinking about this actually over my vacation, so I put together a little article about it. I actually used the Galaxy S7 Edge and the Pixel side by side while I was on my honeymoon because always be working.
You can't stop working.
I wasn't
Always be
writing
snapping.
anything.
Yep.
I was just testing, and I was
Snapping.
actually, I was really impressed by how much better the Pixel turned out to be on my vacation than the Galaxy S7 Edge. Granted, there are things about the S7 Edge that I absolutely like. There's built-in editing and the software, and there's just more. There are more choices for the camera application. You can actually shoot in RAW, for instance, which is not a thing that you can do with Google Camera just yet. But in other cases, the sensor on the Galaxy S7 Edge was outrun by the Pixel, and just in my own anecdotal evidence, and of course there are plenty of other articles out there that have done the test, low light test. It's just it's very interesting, just sort of what Samsung needs to. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know what they're. I mean, we've heard a lot of rumors. I agree with your point that they should leave the headphone jack alone, but I fear that this is going to become a trend that Samsung is going to continue.
I said that last week or 2 weeks ago. I said the headphone jack is going to go. It's going to happen sooner or later, and we just got to get used to it. Yeah. I think what I think is very interesting, Flo, about how you positioned, here's how the Galaxy S8 can dethrone the Google Pixel. I don't think the Pixel's got any throne to stand on other than the specs. It's not like it's outselling the Galaxy S7.
A lot of people said the same thing as you, which I completely understand, but I was referring to it as sort of, it's our phone of the year. I mean,
sure, but it's not selling like it's the phone of the year.
And that is a good point. But it's also only been out for one
exactly.
quarter.
Honestly, it's only been out for a short period of time. We don't know what the sales numbers look like.
And it didn't have a phone, coming after it that exploded in flames and forced everybody else to
Figure something
It's
out.
it's almost as if Samsung's got a double challenge ahead of them.
Yeah.
Is one to overcome the upgrade and level set that Google has put forward, but then to overcome their own misstep with the Note. But
I also don't think that's going to be such a hard thing to do, because when we think about the Galaxy devices, we think about all the extra stuff that we get on top of it. Water resistance,
the blow up issue. They're making jokes on late night TV still about Samsung.
Is Jimmy
phones blowing
Fallon
up.
still making the same damn joke?
I saw a taping of Seth Meyers, and he had a joke about it. I mean, like it is.
I watched that episode that you were at because I knew that you were out there.
Yeah. So it's so in the zeitgeist that I almost think that they should come out with a mild upgrade to the S7 in some way, some obvious thing, just to get it out of the way before they release another the 8, because they're going to get such a backlash on the next thing they release. No matter what they put out, it's going to be maligned.
S8 specs in a Note 7 body.
Yeah.
S8 face with a Note 7 booty.
S8 in front, Note 7 in
the
back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, no matter how Samsung slices it, the next phone that they release, like you said, Ron, is going to be under either fair or not a lot of scrutiny based on.
Oh, absolutely. It is just,
this is going to continue to haunt them for years.
I was just surprised to see the Pixel be my main choice. I actually thought, I brought the Samsung phone along thinking, this will be the better camera phone.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty great.
It's a pretty great device.
Yeah.
Is it worth the high cost? I mean, that's a lot of people's kind of consideration with it.
Well, I love the camera. And that is, I take so many photos, and that's been the number one thing for me.
You just point
And
and
then
shoot.
just the screen is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I don't know how you have the phone without a case on it. It's just
I know, it's brave.
Makes me,
I had a dream. I dropped my
shiver.
phone and shattered it, and I woke up like sad. Like really sad.
I can understand that. I feel like I've had that nightmare a few times.
I like to live
I lived
dangerously
it.
Yeah.
with my phones.
Yeah. That works until
It's mostly
you drop
worked.
it.
It's mostly worked.
Do you put them in your pocket, or how do you
I
carry
keep them in
them?
my pocket.
Okay.
Just curious. I don't have. They don't put pockets on women's pants
Yeah.
anymore. So
I never dropped my phone until I dropped my phone.
and shattered it.
Then I dropped my phone.
Shattered
and then I dropped my
dreams,
phone.
shattered
And then kept
dreams.
dropping it.
But before that, I never did. So just remember that.
I still go caseless. I mean, I've only shattered one phone. That was when I dropped the Nexus 5 on a marble bar, and it just when I got it on the wrong angle, and the whole thing went. That's the only phone that I've really shattered. So
Yeah.
I've been knock on wood. I've been lucky.
Sounds rough. Gary writes in to AAA at twit.tv to say, love the show. It's the only podcast out of 23 that I watch instead of just
Gary.
listen to. Nice. I think I like that. I think that's a compliment. He says, but it's sometimes like watching Car and Driver, where the main reviews are of Ferrari or Maserati. I've had a series of mid to cheap phones, and most these days are great for the banging around of real life. Present phone is LG K3, Marshmallow, Boost Mobile, dropped from 3 to 5 feet onto pavement, tile, sidewalks, near zero damage. Screen's still perfect, sat on countless times. I sometimes laugh at the high-buck phones that are praised for their awesomeness, then 2 seconds later, the story of their being destroyed by a fall of inches.
Cheers, Jason.
A beautiful piece of engineering is only awesome if it doesn't need a huge plastic ugly protector to be useful. My 2 cents.
Agreed.
Happy holidays.
You know what? He's right.
I agree.
It's like a Ferrari and a Maserati. You don't really want to take it out of the house, except on Saturday when you take your afternoon ride for brunch. But the rest of the week, it just sits inside the garage. And why did you spend so much money for a car you don't even want to drive?
Because you proved to yourself that you could spend that much money to have
I
that
know.
car.
God, if I had that much money. But anyway, but I think
Then
he
you
makes
do the same thing.
I would. But he makes a good point about phones. It's like we were just teasing you about your Pixel.
Well.
I cover my Pixel in bubble wrap. I mean.
Well, yeah. So you go back to what can Samsung do to make a kick butt phone that won't break, that sells for $300. You know, I mean, like make, you know, like we the $799 price point is a luxury price point still, and that's why I think, and maybe Gary's right that we are focusing too much on the flagships and the new hotness. But I feel like we talk about the OnePlus, and we talk about the Nextbit, we talk about there are affordable phones out there that we do cover, but they're not as sexy because they're oftentimes using older hardware or older specs, or not as cutting edge to keep that price down. But yeah, I got to agree with them here. You want a phone that can last. I mean, that's not going to break and shatter and be this delicate, work of art that you put in a gallery, as opposed to using, in the trenches.
I really like the Axon 7 Mini, by the way, since we're talking about smaller, affordable phones. And actually, the aluminum body is pretty. I mean, it's more rugged than a glass phone.
Right. Well, yeah, the aluminum body ends up being a lot more,
I mean, my
than the Honor 8, let's say, with glass on front and back, that I have shattered on the back because of that.
Really? Mm-hmm. You shattered the Honor 8?
It's a long story.
It's a gift.
My gosh. I am never letting you borrow my phone.
It's a gift. So what about the shatterproof displays? Like, we've seen a few phones like this. The Droid Turbo 2 by Motorola.
The Droid Turbo 2 is a great phone.
Had the shatterproof display. Why aren't we seeing more of that if this is a high priority for consumers? What do you think?
I think it's cost and manufacturing complexity.
Yeah.
That's true, because you have to put those layers of...
It's just not. It's not as simple as glass that everybody has and can manufacture. No. Yeah,
all these things just add up. I mean, that's why the Navdy cost went up. This manufacturing complexity.
Mm-hmm.
You have to teach the employees too how to help people to install or take off the shatterproof. Like the Droid Turbo 2 has that display that you can sort of remove layers of, or you can get it replaced.
Oh,
and so you have to train employees at the carriers to how.
That's actually another big issue. Is retail employees in general do not know how to sell high-tech devices.
Well, no.
Oh, yeah. So, you could have a shatterproof screen and people wouldn't even understand it. So it doesn't become.
That's really true. But that's also the onus is on the manufacturer, because they're the ones going in and with their consultants and teaching the store employees and the associates. How to upsell, and I guess, but the store employees are going to upsell what sells and gets them
and what
commission.
Gets them commission.
I mean, you can't blame them.
Which doesn't,
gotta put food on the table.
And so none of this works with a $300 price point.
Yeah, right. Certainly raises the cost.
How do we solve the problem?
Once again, capitalism ruins everything in technology.
It does ruin everything. Well, it just ruins everything, period. Sorry. That was too deep for this show.
It's pretty deep, pretty deep. Hey,
let's not go there.
Let's dive deep into apps.
In stereo.
Is this That's new.
The icons
I like
are new.
that.
Yeah.
We have some of the best bumpers in the biz, man. Jeff Kosmicki, he's the best. Yeah,
he always comes through.
We should show Brady the VR one.
I was gonna say the VR one. Can we just show it?
Just show it.
Yeah, check this one out, Brady. Check this.
Okay, this is adorable.
Yep.
Right?
Pretty cool, right?
Dude, in an empty room.
Love it. Look at the face.
Oh my god.
It gets all dark there at the end.
It's great.
I still want Flo's Goat Shack though, or something. Tech Shack.
Ready Player One Android.
Flo's
we need to
Shack.
draw the line. We need to draw the line in 2017. No more goats. Anyway,
have Flo's Hardware Shack. Let me find it somewhere. Ron, go.
So you might have heard the news that Super Mario Run released on iOS. Well, here's a little service announcement for you guys all. It's not out on Android. If you are downloading Super Mario Run for Android, it's most likely fraudulent. Do not download Super Mario Run on Android yet. It's not out. Don't do it. More than likely, it's fake, malicious, and you might be putting something bad on your device. I don't even want to imagine what people are doing with this. Please don't fall for it. Super Mario Run is not on Android. We will let you know when it is, because more than likely we'll be playing it. So.
Good PSA. Just because you see it on some shady third party website doesn't mean it actually exists for Android magically suddenly. Especially when you're talking about a company like Nintendo, they would have announced it. You would know about it. But has anyone here played Super Mario Run?
Nah, not interested.
No interest.
I have my Pokemans.
Is it the whole
I'll play
not on Android, so I don't care, or is it that you just don't care about?
Yeah. Where is Nintendo's faith in the Android operating system?
Yeah.
What? Pokemon.
I'm just not a gamer.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
I'll play. I mean, I want to play it. I just haven't played it because I don't have any iOS devices. And when it comes out on Android, I'll play it then. I hate the exclusivity windows. You know how I feel about things only being available on one platform, but whatever, I get it. So it's fine. Let them all complain about the price point. Let them work out the financials so then we can just reap the rewards.
You know, rewards we can reap, and I know that Jason is super excited about this.
I am.
Is that Capcom has announced it's bringing Mega Man to Android with a full 8-bit collection of games, parts 1 through 6, hitting Japanese devices in January. But no word on, of course, when it's coming to the rest of us, American folk.
You just come eventually, right? You make it. You're gonna. I mean, this has wide appeal, doesn't it? Maybe. I don't know. I was a Mega Man fan.
Of course you were.
Of course I was.
I love Mega Man. Mega Man was awesome.
Of course you guys were. That's like the staple of growing up in the 80s.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know if it's a staple. It's just
Will
one
you
of
not
many.
be able to play the Japanese version?
What's that?
Would you?
APK.
Well, I mean, yeah. I imagine if you get the APK, you probably would. But,
Yeah.
You know, you want to get legitimately.
It's Android, and APK is
Yeah. It APKs.
an
it's true.
unknown
Although,
source.
I will say, anytime you take games like that, like the Mega Man series was actually really difficult.
Yeah.
Even with the normal controller.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
why I
throw the
never played it.
touchscreen interface on that. Forget it. I have a really hard time believing that it's going to be as awesome.
I gotta get you a little joystick. I have a tiny little Bluetooth joystick that I use to play games on Android, and
Why is it not in your purse right now?
because
So you
I
can play all the
can't
time.
play while I'm driving here.
Yes.
Super dangerous.
Fair enough. Fair
Even
enough.
if you
okay.
could, don't. 'Cause that's a bad idea.
Well, you could,
I could put it on cruise control and
you could
just-
put it on your steering wheel,
No.
and then
No, don't
I mean,
even
I
do
play, I play Breakout with them.
I was
Good
gonna say,
idea,
that's
bad
probably good
idea.
for Arkanoid or Breakout or something like that. Hey, before I talk about my app news, I'm taking a gamble here because I haven't watched this since the first time I watched it a few months ago. Bleak in the chat room actually made a bumper for Flo's
Oh
Hardware
my gosh,
Shack,
really?
and I forgot about it. And why don't we go ahead
Let's
and play
debut it.
if it works? It's also a Dropbox link, and we had trouble with the Dropbox link. He
Jeez.
says it's a little long.
Wow.
I think we could cut off about 2/3 of the dancing gopher, but still.
Okay, we're keeping that and we're filing it
I think-
because
I think what I appreciate about that is that Bleak chose specifically not to go the here's like a cabin sort of shack approach.
Caddyshack.
He went
Right.
the Caddyshack approach, which I never would have thought of, but
Very well
it.
done,
I
Blake.
love it.
Good job,
Along
Blake.
with like
Bravo.
80s editing style. Yeah, the entire dancing gopher.
Yeah.
we can break that down. But when we get to Flo's Hardware Shack in the future, just know that we now have a bumper.
Next year, y'all. Next year. Just wait for the onslaught. Just wait for the onslaught.
It exists. I'm so happy that came up organically in the show. So real quick here, I'm a big Evernote user, Evernote fan. I've got tons and tons and tons of notes inside Evernote. Evernote nearly lost me as a user when they announced that in order to train their AI system, they would open up users' notes to being read by Evernote employees. No way of opting out for that change. It was just basically like, you're going to just have to deal with the fact that we're going to be reading your notes. People lost their minds, as they should, and Evernote got the message, thankfully, and announced that they will be changing the update to be opt-in. So they haven't even rolled out the update, so it's not even going to hit. When it launches sometime in the new year, it will be opt-in so that they can train their AI. I understand the need to train AI
Please don't leave
with
us.
actual data in order to make sure that it works and everything. But this was never a good idea to roll it out like
and to come
this.
out of it like nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just like Verizon bricking phones. I mean, it's a good reminder that you don't always control your digital assets.
Absolutely.
And
You don't control, you don't control the phone that you have in your hand.
Yep. And you
Sorry.
certainly don't control your data on another service.
Nope, especially if you're getting it for free.
Well, I mean,
Just saying.
yeah, I think I mentioned this not too long ago on a previous episode, but I was reminded of that when that whole two-factor thing happened, and suddenly I was locked out of my account, primarily, specifically with photos, because I've begun to rely on Google Photos as my place that I keep all my photos. And not really having a good system at home for hardware, like on my own drive backup. I've just been like, well, it's happening automatically to the cloud, and it's always there. If you ever lose that Google account, you don't have those photos anymore if you don't have a local copy of that stuff. And that's just one example.
Right.
So
that said, I was stuck in the Vegas airport last night on a layover, and I had a delightful time with the Google Photos app. I cannot believe how smart that thing was. Yeah. It knew people. It identified people by their face and like knew them from my I never spent time entering people's names, and it knew who they were. And I do not know how it did that, and it's amazing.
You went down memory lane at the Vegas airport.
I did. I got a little. It's the holidays. Dean Martin was playing in the PA.
Oh, is that where your tweet was associated with? I was like, okay.
Yes, yeah.
I can understand.
It was lovely. It was a lovely night. But yeah, so all right. We got a lovely email from another member of our community. Dan writes in and says, if you weren't aware yet, the newest update to Android Auto added in voice activation using the OK Google keyword.
Yes.
I turned on my Google Home. All right. Okay, Google, stop. I had been waiting for this feature for a while now, but only realized it was active while listening to your last episode of my drive to work. Every time Ron said the trigger word, the podcast would pause and my stereo would start listening. I found it a little funny, but since I had to touch the screen to make it stop, it was just a little annoying. Thought I'd give you guys a heads up from a loyal listener and Android Auto user. So that's the first Android Auto user I think we've heard from, right? It's nice to hear it out in the wild.
We're distracting drivers.
Yes.
We should probably try and not say the hot word anymore.
We should not record a podcast so that people who are driving don't listen to it.
We say the hot word.
We should say things that makes, their AI come on, and then, they're like, I don't have my maps anymore.
I get where you're going now.
Yeah.
You have to just put a trigger warning at the beginning of each episode.
Well,
a literal trigger warning.
A trigger warning for Google. Google's trigger warning. We've heard from a lot of people that are like, why don't, when you guys are doing the show, refer to it some other way. It's really hard to do that.
You could say
OKG.
you're just talking.
Like we're just having a conversation.
Like
really
OKG.
It's funny because
G-Dog.
I was listening to Merlin Mann on I think it was on Back to Work, or might have been on Roderick on the Line, where he was a couple months ago talking about this, but not with Google, but of course with the iOS equivalent with Siri, that they came up with a different phrase to say ahoy phone or something like that to say when we say that we mean the trigger word, but that's confusing. I'm sorry. I mean, it literally just triggered my Google Home as I said it myself too, because I forgot to mute the mic. But what are you gonna do?
It's a habit. It takes a while to get into the habit if we were to do that, and I just
appreciate Google Home understands me even when I'm kind of slurring a little bit.
So, hey, Google.
When would you be slurring?
It totally does. It totally does. Like, you're partying, you're trying to show a party trick to your friends, still understands what you're saying. Just FYI.
Sit down, Flo. Are you okay? Thank you, Google.
I'm going to program it to do that next week. That's a great idea. Because I'm trying to program it for my little New Year's get-together, so I'm going to program it to...
See if you can get it to turn on your Christmas lights. Although it's New Year's, so it'll be kind of...
No, it's just going to tell me to sit down and stop talking so loud.
Well, that's probably good advice.
Hey, it's time for a somewhat unnecessary at this point because we know who won, but still, it's time for the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
I really feel like we should add a...
What's the prize that I get?
That's right. Because guests won.
As representing the guests. Like
what is the prize?
Tinfoil?
I think that, all the prizes.
That's your prize.
You can drink. There it is.
All right.
This is why nobody else showed up.
Oh, that's ridiculous. And Mark won last week.
Last week's app. Well, this is just driving the point home. This was the year of the guest. Mark wins with Reigns.
It's a great game. I'm still playing it every single night. So
it's very, very apropos to this point in history.
Apropos.
That was good. That was unintentional. Second place was Lens Launcher. You had to love that because it was just ridiculous. Third place, Within. Fourth place, Quartz. Do we still get kind of a roundup of where we stand at this point?
Nothing from Wade. So
no, third place was Within.
What?
Fourth place was Quartz.
That's
I
what
got
said.
third place.
That's what I said.
Oh, is that what you said? Sorry.
Yeah.
Stand down. Stand down. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
You got your third place.
I got really defensive about that for a second. I'm really sorry. I
Yeah,
wanted to
I'm pretty
hear
sure I
it
said that, but I might
the wrong
not have
way.
not. Oh, Wade's not here. Wade took the night
Yeah.
off. He's like, they don't need me.
Well, I mean, his job is done. I mean, the guests have won for the year. Is no sense, and it's just mathematical at this point. It just
Yeah,
means
actually,
which
Ron
which
beat
one of us
me.
doesn't lose as bad, right?
Ron,
Yeah,
I'm
so.
last. So I'm last for the year, actually.
Yep.
Ron beat me because we were tied last week.
Let's
Yes.
see here. I
There's a
gotta-
chance.
Maybe you shouldn't have taken 2 weeks off for your honeymoon.
Actually, no.
Yeah,
we're
it's true.
tied. No, we're tied.
Are we tied?
Yeah, we're tied. Because you didn't win. The
Right, I
guest
didn't win.
won.
Yeah, so we're tied.
Yeah.
Tied.
And they were already winning last week.
Right.
So
This is the last arena of the year. This is the last showdown.
All right, so let's finish with a bang.
So-
I'm the loser. The loser
Aw.
from last week.
sorry, I thought.
Whatever.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll get over it. I'll just come back even fiercer next year. My app is, this was a kind of a surprise that came out of nowhere. It made somebody else's top list of the year, and I had never heard of it. It's like 100 to 500 installs, super low install count. It's called Cheeky Fingers.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I know. It's not quite what it sounds like. I'm not sure what it sounds like, but it's a piano. It's a piano chord app. The musician in me appreciates apps like these because sometimes you just need it to not work. Hold on. Good thing we aren't being judged here. Let me go ahead and relaunch it. Maybe it had some sort of legacy weird thing. Anyways, what it is it's a kind of like a piano chord map for musicians, and it has just a lot of kind of additional features in it that I appreciate. Once it loads up here, it kind of represents your hands on the piano so that if you're sitting down and you want to learn chords, or let's say you're sitting at your desk, there we go, now we're in there. And it's really kind of quiet, so we'll turn it up. So you can do it a couple of different ways, right? Like there's a major chord, obviously, or you can have it hit at the same time to kind of get a sense of what it actually sounds like and everything. You've got all these different variations or keys. So if you want to kind of move to a different key, you can. Related, these kind of get a little bit further kind of differentiated, different types of chords, maybe 3-4 notes within there. You can also do progressions, and I actually really like this aspect because sometimes as a musician, you're looking for, I don't know, a progression, some sort of a chord progression to kind of inspire you in some way. And a lot of these are pretty standard progressions. But you can actually create your own progressions. So I think what's kind of powerful about that is if you're at your desk, let's say, and you have an idea that kind of strikes you, but you don't have anything to put it into, you can come in here and lay it out and save it. And then when you get home, you can actually transcribe that. As you can see, it kind of has the staffing. Oh, I didn't realize I was getting reflection up there. The staffing, if you really want to get nerdy in it. And then, just different ways to kind of craft the sound of it, the sound itself, whether you want to arpeggiate it. So kind of repetition, have that notation up there, which I can take off because that does nothing for me personally. And just a whole lot more. I just appreciate kind of the layout of this app, and it's really just kind of straightforward, easy to use. Probably not going to apply to a lot of people necessarily, because usually when I bring music apps in, they don't seem to apply to a lot of people. But I like them, dang it. And I think this one's pretty cool. It's called Cheeky Fingers. Good for just kind of learning piano and kind of transcribing ideas that you have in your brain into a way that maybe you can bring that home and do something with it. It's $3.19. I just think it's well designed. Although when I launched it, and it not playing sound, that worries me a little bit. Hopefully they'll address that because that shouldn't have happened. But there you go. It's called Cheeky Fingers. All right. So it would be Flo next, right?
Flo's next, yep.
All right, Flo, you're up.
Cool. I brought a game to the arena today because I saw how. I don't know. I brought a game to the arena today because That's all I download now is games. Today's game is called Kerflux. Now, this is a fun little game that lets you. So what you have to do, the way that I sort of understand this game, is you have to match the wavelengths. So if you could see up here, there are two different wavelengths. I got to get this gray part over here to sync up with this dark part, or perhaps it's the other way around. So the way I'm going to do that is, and actually this has a really good soundtrack. So as you're playing, it'll sort of change.
I don't think we can hear it.
Can you hear it?
I can hear it.
Nice. It's classic. I like it.
All right. So it's your basic chiptunes, but when you're playing,
Whoa.
changes like it's like a DJ, right?
Nice.
So there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go to the next one.
I like it. Ooh, filter.
And so sometimes what you're gonna have to do is one wave will change one particular part of the wave that you need to fit in there, and the other wave will change it the other way. And so you kind of have to find a nice balance between the two, which adds a bit of a challenging aspect to the game. And this is just a pretty simple game to play, like while you're on transit. You can solve the puzzles pretty quickly. You know, say you're only riding train for one stop or whatever.
So are
That's
you
pretty
trying
cool.
to morph the waveforms so that they match?
Yeah, so the top waveform is what
that's
needs
really
to
cool.
match, and the different waves underneath it are how many layers there are, and so the layers correspond to different melodies.
Yeah.
So it's just like DJing.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's neat.
This is hard, by the way. It's getting a little hard for
Do
me.
you feel like you're getting better as you're playing it? Like,
Yeah.
are you learning?
Yeah.
And then once you lock it in, do you get once it's locked in, you achieve a certain type of sound?
Once you're locked in, you can just move on to the next
Then
puzzle.
and then you get the downloaded sample, so
that
that
would
you
be
can
nice.
make
So you can make
you
your
can
own.
make your own.
That would be nice. I'm having a real trouble with this one, so I'm gonna give up. But yeah, and then if you're interested in the soundtrack, well, I actually don't have internet. I didn't sign up this phone on the Wi-Fi.
Oh, on the Wi-Fi.
But it's just a neat little easy game to play
that.
while you're on transit. Fun little sounds. I like that kind of chiptune-y stuff. So
yeah, that's neat.
Kerflux. Kerflux. Kerflux.
And that's free? Is that? Yeah.
Yes, it's free.
Free.
I never remember because when you download the app
Yeah.
and it doesn't tell you.
Yes, I know
should.
all about that. Excellent. Kerflux. All right. Brady.
Wait, Brady's
right.
last because guests are winners?
No, one of us is always last. Whoever one of us is last.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Sorry.
Although, well, yeah. That is. Think about that going into 2017.
yeah. Yeah,
we might make some changes to the
All
arena
about
going
Android
into
Arena
2017.
rules have changed.
I know.
Disclosure.
Meanwhile, we never actually sat down and decided this stuff. It just kind of came up organically
It's
over
true.
the years. But whatever.
The only rule was don't double. That was the
I
only
just
rule.
assumed that you wanted to end on, Max Hedron.
Oh, is that?
So I'm kind of amazed that your app has not been in the arena yet.
I was pretty surprised, but again, so I'm talking about Signal, which if you zoom in, it's an encrypted chat and encrypted group chat, and it's an app that I've suddenly started using in these
A lot
last
of people
month.
have suddenly started using
Suddenly got a bunch of invites to it, and it's relatively simple. It replaces my SMS on here. I've archived a bunch of stuff, but I can search through old conversations. I can create groups. I can invite friends.
So you can
of
use it
course.
for SMS?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And I mean,
then I can go to other old friends who are on here.
And I mean, the critical point of Signal, obviously, is that it's fully encrypted.
Fully encrypted. I can also do encrypted voice, and I can also do pictures, and I can also set parameters around the messages so that they go away.
So that they expire at a certain point?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, this is not actually using the SMS protocol, but it's more replacing SMS on the device.
So a database messenger platform like WhatsApp or something like that, but with better encryption.
Honestly, I don't know if it's better encryption than WhatsApp or Facebook, but it's a encrypted messaging app that's not owned by Facebook.
Right,
which is a fundamental difference between Messenger, and WhatsApp.
Well, it's developed by Open Whisper Systems.
Yep.
Which is
not a Facebook subsidiary, to the best of my knowledge.
I mean, the clients, it's free and open source software.
Yep.
And some would say that makes it even more secure. There's more kind of scrutiny over it, more eyeballs to understand whether, there would be any sort of a backdoor into it, just as one example.
As long as you're getting the verified APK.
I really appreciate the Nietzsche call out in the Play Store screenshots.
What's that?
There's a Nietzsche call out in the screenshots.
Can you read the quote to us?
It's in the Play Store page, Brian.
It's the purple one. Go back a couple slides.
The waterfall.
We should consider every day lost on which we have not danced at least once, and we should call every truth false which was not accompanied by at least one laugh.
Gonna have to think about that one.
All right.
That's deep, man.
That's deep, bro. Signal, private messenger. Yeah, I mean, there are the install numbers for Signal, and I think even Telegram and everything in the past month, not going to say why, have skyrocketed.
Yep.
So this is kind of a lot.
I've been using one as well.
A lot of folks installing and using the fully encrypted messaging services, and maybe it's a good time you do too.
I like that it says SMS.
Yeah.
MMS,
nice.
fine. Everything.
Yeah.
Stickers, Giphy.
Oh, thank God there's stickers.
Yep.
Ooh.
There better be stickers.
Hey now.
Some stickers.
There had better be stickers.
Anyway, my app doesn't have stickers.
What is your app?
So moving
I've
on.
got it.
So moving on. All right. So this is your chance to get on board early to an app while still in the beta period. It's called Stash. And it is a new smart bookmarking kind of, save for later kind of type application. We've seen this kind of app for years. There was Instapaper and Read Later and things like that. And Pushbullet does it to a certain degree. Evernote, a lot of people use Evernote or Keep or things like that. But what Stash is doing, which is really interesting, is that it allows you to they've got a Google Chrome kind of app that works in your browser as well as integrates with the phone. You create your account, and as you're browsing the web, if you see an article that you want to read later, you can stash it, and what it will do is it will automatically detect based off a series number of categories. So, for example, I stashed the Jesus and Mary Chain's new song, and it picked up that was a song, and categorized it under songs.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's really, really smart. It's analyzing what you're bookmarking and helping you with the categorization aspect of it. And so it makes it really easy to go back and read things, when you have the time to do it. And what helps with that time is it allows you to set reminders. So when you do stash something from the web or from wherever else where you might do it, what it does is then it says, okay, do you want to set a reminder for this? And you can say, yeah, remind me in the morning, remind me later tonight, or some no reminder, but just have it marked for later, So, if you're like me and you're, commuting in the morning and you want, 9 a.m., you want to get a reminder, oh, I want to read that article while I'm on the train. That's a great way so you don't forget, because we all forget everything because we're getting older, right?
Yeah.
And then within that, you can also easily send articles to other people and have articles sent to you. And so you've got a little inbox functionality there that allows you to control that and to be able to see who's sending you stuff and what you're getting and then categorize it as you need to from there. So it's really like the next generation of a Pocket or a Read Later, adding in that smart kind of intelligence and kind of smart analyzation and the reminder aspects that make it really powerful. So it is in beta. You can download the app, but it won't work because you don't have an account. And the way you get an account is two ways. You sign up for their the waiting list on their website, which I signed up about a month ago. It took about a month for me to get access to it. If you don't want to wait, if you post to social networks about the app for 10 times, or if 10 people click on links that you post, then you'll get early access to the app. So there's a little hoop to jump over. But once this app rolls out, out of beta, I imagine a lot of people are going to start using it. So so Stash, it's currently in beta, but you can get in on it if you go jump through their hoops or just be a little patient. And it's definitely worth checking out. So
nice.
There you go.
I've been meaning to check this out. I'm happy you brought it in because I heard about it a little while back and it sounded very interesting.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm going to change my password so you won't be able to access it.
No, come on! I want to be you in this app.
Because I'm sure you really want to read the article about the 50 best podcasts of 2016, and
I do.
Have them continue to.
Are we on it?
No, we're not. Of course, we're not on it because we're not NPR. Don't get me started on this topic. But it's just the general, the Atlantic and all that other kind of media. Unless you're with NPR or some other, big media conglomerate, then you don't even exist. And anyway. So.
Yeah,
we can make it next year, guys. Come on.
Well, we had Hiroshi Lockheimer on.
Yeah, we had Hiroshi Lockheimer. I don't see Hiroshi Lockheimer on Marketplace. Kai Rizdal.
Yeah, Kai.
Yeah.
Although if you ever want to do a project together, Kai,
I would love to do that.
bit.ly/AAA vote 297 to place your vote for your favorite app this year. Is it going to be a victory lap for the guests?
I think so.
I think it very well might be.
Bit.ly.
Sigh. All right, Brian, your last vote of the year. Who's it going to go to? Remember, I know where you live.
Kerflux.
Yes.
There it is.
Kerflux.
Brian,
because I threatened him. Don't worry.
At 2, Brian, really?
Because I
no
threatened
backbone?
him with physical violence.
No,
backbone?
that wouldn't scare me. I mean, a little bit, sure, but I use Signal and I like it a lot. But I don't have a lot of people that also use it. So, and I've never seen Kerflux. It looked pretty cool.
Yes.
That's the one challenge with Signal, and like I've talked a lot about in the show, how like I have a lot going on in WhatsApp, and it's the same reason why Allo hasn't taken off in my thing, is because moving people to be on the same platform is very hard now, and a lot of people don't want to be bothered, but encryption is so important, so it's good that we have got these options. So.
For sure.
Oh, my people keep using Facebook Messenger.
Facebook has encryption, so does WhatsApp.
It does.
Yeah. I think it's great.
In some of the apps, you just have to be a little bit more mindful to turn it on or whatever. You have to know that it's there and actually do something, as opposed to some of these like Signal, where it's just, this is the way it is.
I really wish Facebook Messenger had a auto response function. So when people write me on Facebook Messenger, I can say, hey, I don't check this. Please write me somewhere else. Because I hate Facebook Messenger so much.
Or it pops up when you're like in the middle of
a show.
I had to mute right before doing my ad.
And then you have to move the little chat head if you forget to disable it.
Disable the chat head. That is it for this year, kind of.
All
right. Good job.
No, it is. It's this year. Besides next week's show, but next week's show is
it's a best of.
It's a best of.
It's best of. It's not the most. It's not a best of just the most important stories. It's literally a best of moments that we are all laughing, which is how I do my best ofs. That's how I do best ofs for this show.
Well, but
can we see it earlier, Jason? Is there a way for us to see it earlier? Or do we have to wait like everybody else?
Hey, you gotta wait, man.
I mean,
oh man,
so you've already edited this?
Yeah.
I've picked all the moments.
Oh wow!
I think there were. So how I do my best of for this show is I literally have every single episode and I scrub until I see all of us laughing, and then I see, is that moment worth pulling out. I think I had 115 moments. I feel really bad for Victor who was editing, but he assured me that it's okay. In years past, I was the editor, so I didn't feel like I wasn't putting anyone out. I knew that I knew the damage I was doing to myself, but I knew it was worth it. So I'm sorry, Victor, but thank you.
But that's a testament to our show that we laugh so much together.
That's pretty awesome.
That's exactly it. It is, yeah.
That's exactly it. Almost every single clip is
Who else
something
finds
funny.
Android that's funny?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a testament to the fact that what we do on this show is we get together and talk about something we really enjoy, and we enjoy each other's company and get the guests that come on. We're really just hanging out, talking about stuff we like.
Next time I'm bringing cider.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
That's a great idea, actually. I love cider.
Do it. Brady Forrest, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for making
Thanks
the
for
trek
having me.
also.
No, I love coming up here. There's no point in doing it from like a room via Skype. Like I want to come up.
Yeah.
It's the hills, isn't
No,
it?
it's different for you,
the
Ron.
hills.
There's infrastructure for you.
Yeah.
I know. I'm kidding.
You've got your Christmas tree in your home
exactly.
studio.
It's very cozy. It's very cozy here. But no, I wish I could be there. If I could be, I would be. I'm sorry I missed you, Brady. It's always good to see you.
Yeah. Well, stop by Highway 1 next time you're in town.
Definitely. Love that place.
So what do you want people to kind of know about kind of your next steps, where they can follow you if they want to kind of keep in touch with what you're doing?
Well, I'm Brady on Twitter and Ignite. I mean, I'll be spending a lot of time on Ignite, and there's going to be Ignite. There's a day of Ignites at South by Southwest. We'll be having Global Ignite Week, May 15th to 20th, which will be at least tens of Ignite events around the world on every continent.
Wow.
And that's the first time that the last time we did a Global Ignite Week was 2011. We had 65 cities participate. This time we have more chapters now, and so I think we'll be able to do better than that.
Nice. Fantastic. And you got, at Brady on Twitter, it doesn't get any easier than that.
Yeah. And again, if you're going to be at South by Southwest, let me know. And just come on by. We've got a day of Ignites. And I saw someone ask earlier what an Ignite was. It's a 5-minute talk format where everybody gets 20 slides, 15 seconds a slide. They auto-advance. And it's something that I started about 10 years ago, December 9th, 2006, just to do it in Seattle. And then people found out about it, and it just spread on its own.
Awesome
I had no
concept.
idea that 10 years later, I would still remember that I had thrown an event called Ignite, let
That
alone still be
random
like
Ignite
working
event.
on it. Yeah.
That's great.
That's
awesome.
cool. Well, the concept itself, like it's so obvious why it's a success, because it's easy to understand, and you can imagine people get really creative with the time that they have.
Constraints breed creativity.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
that is, the talk will be over. And we get multiple inquiries a day about Ignites. Sometimes they're from people who want to throw events, but often it's students who've been assigned a talk. Mm-hmm. And so we'll actually be creating a bot that answers their questions about how to use PowerPoint and the talk format and all that type of stuff, just so we can reach more people.
Nice.
College speeches will never be boring again.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Right on, Brady. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Flo, Jason, Ron.
Absolutely. Anytime. Flo, what about you?
Well, as always, you can find me on Twitter and Snapchat at OhThatFlow. I will be live streaming my train on Friday on YouTube.
I saw that.
My Christmas train. I'm so excited.
Train.
I've been following the Christmas train drama on Twitter, Flo, whether you know or not. And it's been quite enjoyable, so I'm looking forward to the live
Totally,
stream.
last night I was trying to stream the train on Instagram, and I tripped over it, and then it kept little branches from the tree kept falling on the tracks, and it kept we got a train to go around the Christmas tree.
Oh,
Like a Lionel train, like a legitimate
I was like,
Lionel
Flo's
train.
really into Muni, and she's gonna take a Christmas tree on the Muni and then live stream it. I don't understand.
No, that's Bart, not Muni.
or Bart. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, we're working on getting the kinks worked out so we can live stream on Friday and bring some joy to
Will
some Christmas
you
joy.
play the Kinks while the train is running?
Oh, that's a great idea.
There you go.
That's a great
There it is,
idea.
yeah.
That's a great idea. Actually, I have a Christmas playlist just to play in the background. But anyway, in addition to that, of course, you can find me on Android Central. And this week, I am working on a how-to on how to program your Google Home to talk back to you.
Like
Not
what?
well, you could program it to be like, ugh, mom.
Ugh, mom.
Or you could just program it because I'm programming it to do all these tricks for my New Year's Eve get together that I'm having with my friends. So
Cool.
I decided to put a little how-to about it so people can
Nice.
troll their friends.
Yeah. Hey, I have a feeling you're not alone in wanting to do
No,
that.
I'm not.
I know people who use Alexa to control their kids.
I actually
Wake up. It's time
that
to
makes
wake up.
sense.
For dinner.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I've actually programmed Google Home to recite me my mantras every day.
Oh yeah.
Oh, very nice.
So-
I read that. Nice.
Cool.
Very cool. You can do a lot with Google Home, obviously. So follow Flow to see what she does next. Ron, what about you?
Yes. So if you are worried about the holiday break, and not having anything to listen to, I've got you covered. I've got other podcasts you can go listen to. Over at ifanboy.com, we just released our annual year-end media roundup. Where normally on iFanboy, we're talking about comic books, but on this special 3-hour-long podcast, me and my co-hosts talk about movies, TV shows, music, books, podcasts, games, and a little bit of comics. All the stuff that we enjoyed the most this year. It is really long, but if you got a long drive to go home for Christmas, it's worth listening to. We have a lot of fun. It's a lot of, it's a good way to discover new stuff that you might not have heard about throughout the year. It's one of my favorite shows I do every year. So I want to make sure if anybody's interested in it, check it out because it's not just comics. It's not just tech. It's everything that we enjoy in media. So it's pretty cool. And of course, Damn Fine Podcast, which I do with Tom Merritt every week, where we're revisiting and analyzing Twin Peaks, is not taking a break for the holiday. Every Wednesday, we're going to have a new episode. We got a new episode coming out tomorrow. We got one primed up for after Christmas and during New Year's. So if you're a Twin Peaks fan, you got to be listening to Damn Fine Podcast, and that's at damnfinepodcast.com.
Nice. Excellent stuff. Thank you, Ron.
I didn't know about that one, Ron. That sounds awesome.
It just launched. We're 4 episodes in. So
okay.
You still time to. And what's great is that it's evergreen because we're reviewing shows that are 25 years old. So listen to it at your leisure. But
so you'll get into the habit of listening to this, and then right when the new season starts is right when they transition to that episode. They've timed it. So you're in the habit. The new season starts, and now your habit is that this is the show you listen to while you're obsessed with the new Twin Peaks.
So now, brilliant. Jason, I love the credit you're giving us, but we don't actually know the launch date for season 3. So we're hoping that's how it works out. We're waiting for Showtime to announce the launch date. But yes, we started early so that
all right.
It's either if you see us
believe though.
Yeah, if you see us start releasing multiple episodes per week, that's because it's coming out sooner than we thought. So,
or you hit the end and then what?
Interviews. Lots of interviews.
Yeah, lots of interviews. But in addition to the TV show, we've got the movie to talk about. There's numerous books. A new book just came out this year that Mark Frost wrote that's worth checking out. There's a lot of stuff to cover. So we're either way we're covered. So and if it's hopefully we're going to be a great spot for Twin Peaks fans and it's been great to see. I've gotten some emails from some All About Android listeners who have listened to Damn Fine Podcast complimenting the show. So thank you everybody for trying it. And please, if you're into the show, check it out. So.
Nice. Excellent stuff. Brian, it seems you have help over there. What's going on?
Yeah, actually, I have a camera tonight.
Whoa.
Kind of strange,
That
right?
never happens.
Whoa,
wow.
Hey-o.
Yeah, thanks, Padre.
Thank you, Padre, for squishing his head. What about you?
Well, I do a how-to show with the guy who just set up the camera for me. We've had a great year. We've got 2 best ofs coming up. Thank you, Padre. And yeah, I mean, we've got the worst of our projects, and we're gonna have like the best of our projects because we have an equal amount of good things and bad things that we did. So check those out. You can also follow me on Twitter at cranky_hippo. But we're also going to CES at the end of the year or beginning of January, and that's gonna be nuts. So
see you guys there. We'll be in the trenches together.
Godspeed.
See you there.
We'll come home sick together.
Yeah, exactly.
I got so sick last year. Yeah, I'm not going this year.
It's like, I don't know what it is. CES is like the worst plague of all the shows I go to.
It's the dry hotels.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really affects you, especially that time of year. Yeah, it's just.
It's been nice knowing you guys.
But it is fun to see people. That's the thing I miss about not going to CES is not seeing people and. You work super hard during the day and then you go out at night. That's the fun part. That's the payoff. But anyways, and then you get sick and you wish you didn't. You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. Follow my music, yellowgoldmusic.com. Don't forget to sign up for the Twit newsletter to find out what we're up to. Always twit.tv/newsletter. And I think that's about it. This is the last episode of the year before next week's best of, so make sure and check that out. And if you're just lonely and you need to leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA, we can check in on that in the new year. Emails and video mails to AAA@twit.tv. Find us on Twitter. We're at Android Show. We have a subreddit, twitaaa.reddit.com. Show notes and past episodes always can be found at twit.tv/AAA. You can also find our episodes on YouTube, iTunes, Pocket Cast, pretty much any podcast catcher you'll find it. And catch us live normally every Tuesday somewhere around 5:30 p.m. Pacific at twit.tv/live. That's it for this year of All About Android. We will see you guys next year.
All
right.
Bye, y'all.
Cheers.
Yes. Good job. Well done.